Welcome to the Distracted Driving Podcast. I'm Sean Genovese.
I'm Rex Williams.
It's part 3 of our conversation with Matt McWilliams. You may know him as the affiliate guy. And if you don't, go back and listen to our first part of the interview with him. He's written a new book. It's called Turn Your Passions into Profits. It's available online at passionsintoprofitsbook.com/Rex. It's also linked at the Distracted Driving website, so that's distracteddrivingpodcast.com. And we've got another great episode coming up for you. This episode has great advice. If you like advice, pay attention.
Yeah, really great, more great stories and advice from Matt. We had a great conversation, so keep listening. Yeah,
that cursed knowledge is dangerous because, again, it's kind of like when you're teaching new team members and you forget that there's 12 steps or 22 steps, and you're just like, oh yeah, you do this, this, and this. And it's like, well, no, what are the steps and the sub steps, and then even below that the sub, sometimes you have to tell them
a lot of detail.
Okay, you go to this URL, you click the login button,
right?
And so we went from having basically no SOPs, standard operating procedures, to hundreds now. That it's like there's an SOP for how to create an SOP.
Yeah,
I'm not joking.
just learned about that.
The first SOP is on how to create an SOP. Because again, and then think of it like this is exactly what the book is. It is an SOP for starting and scaling an online business. It's although the one example I just gave kind of counteracts that, and so it could be argued that it would. It's not the how to go from we're running a $10 million business to a $100 million business. Honestly, the book's not for you. Could there be something in there? I'm sure. Sure, go ahead and read it. Maybe you'll be like my friend, and you'll find that one nugget. If I said that there's one nugget in the book worth $500,000, would you read it? Well, yeah. But I'm not saying that's not who I wrote it for. But it's like, okay, here's literally step 1 in the most simplistic way I can put this. Yeah. And then there's 1A, 1B, 1C, and so on. And that's how we have to think when we're doing stuff for our audience.
Yeah, and what's amazing is step 10 is create consistent content. And people will think, what? I thought that was the first thing I had to do, right? And so it really is super helpful to have all those other things in place before you think about really setting up content creation. Although, you got to create some content to do the other things too, but it's really foundational stuff for anybody starting out. And so I don't know if we told you what we do, like Sean hinted to, we're corporate guys, we're engineers in large corporations.
Well, some of us are recovering corporate guys.
And then we kind of doing the entrepreneurship on the side kind of thing. But Sean has transitioned. I don't know if you want to tell your story, Sean.
Actually, I have a question that I want to make sure we get to, so I'm going to ask my question first. Yeah. Years ago, I think now, Mike Rowe did a video for Prager University, and it was in the style of a commencement speech, and he talks about don't follow your passion, follow opportunity. And it resonated with me a lot because of my own personal academic journey, amongst other things. I tell people, when I started college, I was the person responsible for my class that made the top 99% possible. I didn't do well. Yep. And it was because my passion, or my perceived passion anyway at that time, it was misaligned with my abilities. And so you've got passion in your book. The gist of Mike Rowe's talk was make sure that you bring your passion with you, but that you're doing something that aligns with what you're capable of and good at. Mm-hmm. So what's your take on that? And how does that fit into converting your passion into profits?
Yeah, I know the video you're talking about. I've seen that, and I agree with the premise of it because, I think there's a period of life where you do got to put in your, pay your dues, so to speak. I don't think it's necessarily practical, to be like, hey, I've got to, you're 25, you're newly married, your first kid's on the way or whatever. And you go, you know what, I just want to start this side business and go full time and spend my life savings. That's not what I'm saying to do. All right. There's a whole reason why the second part is all about profits. Because we've seen the two extremes. I have run a business that I was super passionate about, loved what I was doing, was waking up early, creating content, had podcast episodes, changing people's lives. I was getting blog comments, emails, social media mentions every day. Matt, you changed my life. You changed my life. Thank you so much. I wasn't making any money. And the problem is now that my kids are older, 7 and 11, and they're getting into really competitive soccer, we're spending thousands of dollars every year on their soccer. I can't go to the soccer association and say, hey, I got this really cool tweet last week from this audience member. Can I get a $200 discount? It doesn't work like that. When we had a mortgage, the mortgage company, I could not go to them and be like, yeah, do we get $500 off? Because I changed 4 people's life, last week. That doesn't work that way. They need money. That's the only way I can pay them. And in business, that really is the only scorecard we have. Now, yeah, past a certain point, you look at things like impact and whatnot, but the money is the scorecard. That's the one we have. And when you're there, okay, that's the one extreme. I'm going to park there for a second. Now we're going to go to the other extreme. The other extreme is, and I've been here too, had a great business, I was young and making over $200,000 a year. Ran a business with my dad, loved the money side, the marketing side, hated, I was a golf instructor, hated the golf. Yeah. My dad, thankfully, some people say fired, I say freed, freed me and allowed me to go off and do
start
my
with
own
an
thing.
F.
And end in ED. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I had to think. And have an R. I was like,
Yep.
I had to think about
It's
that.
just
One.
a
How
vowel.
do you spell those words again? I'm literate. Just to be clear, I did write the book. Autocorrect
AI
may
do
or may
it?
not have kicked in about 8,000 times in this book, and I had a great editor, 4 great editors who went through the book actually, and so.
Awesome.
Shout out to them. But yeah, I mean, the idea here is that those are the two extremes we typically see. I want to be able to marry them. I am not saying go if your passion is to play frickin' video games, unless you're so good that you can literally be a professional video game player, which is the most amazing concept to me right now. I'm just old enough where I'm like, what? How is that even a thing? But you know what? If you can do that, then go do it. Why would I? I'm not going to argue about that. You don't need this book if you're going to be a professional video game player, though. You just need to be really good at video games. Okay, but if that's your passion, I'm really passionate about sleeping. Oh, I'm gonna make up. No, that's not what you're not passionate about that. You don't wake up every day thinking about sleeping.
I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to argue with my teenage boy. Yeah.
I know. Well, that's just because they're growing, But the point there is really what it's about your message. What are you passionate about? Who are you passionate about helping? Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can do that. And from a practical standpoint, I don't talk about this in the book, but from a practical standpoint, start slow. Do it as a side hustle. Can you do it for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 4 days a week in the morning and build a bit of a following? And that's how most of us did do it. We did it on the side. Yeah, you can do it on the side. And just from a practical standpoint, if you can make an extra, let's just say, get to the point where we're making $300 more a month on the side. Well, at the end of 6 months, you have $1,800 extra. And then let's say that bumps up to $1,000. Now you have, $75, you got $7,500 roughly. At the end of a year and a half, 2 years, which is typically when we see people about in that range where they can go full time, you go, okay, let's just say you're an average American, maybe go a little bit higher, making $80,000 a year. That's what it's going to take for you to go full time. Well, it's a lot easier to pull that trigger when you're making even just $5,000 a month, which is only $60,000 a year. But you've got $71,000 in the bank because you've basically just been stockpiling the side hustle money. It's a lot easier to pull that trigger and say, you know what, we could temporarily downsize a little bit. We got $71,000 in bank, and we're already making $5,000 a month part-time. How much more could I make full-time? And so, from a practical standpoint, I am not suggesting that you just go quit your job because you hate your boss and go all in on your blog or your podcast. That's just dumb. I hope that's maybe the curse of knowledge got me on that one, and I didn't write that in the book and say, do not quit your job today. build this on the
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
as a side hustle, get it to the point where you can go full time. But the idea here is just that you are passionate about what you do every day, that you are making a difference. The whole premise of the book hinges on the one belief that we're all messengers now. We all have knowledge and expertise and a message for the world, and
Yeah.
the world needs that message. The world absolutely needs that message. The problem is none of us are going to wait for it. We are not going to, we're going to move on
We're
without
gonna get
your
it
message.
somewhere else.
We're
Yeah.
going to get it somewhere else. And so there are potentially, thousands, maybe even millions of people right now who are desperately waiting for you. They do need you because you have a unique ability to convey that message. You've got unique circumstances, whether it's the fact that you're a single mom or you're an older person or that you've had this certain experience or this certain experience, or you work in this particular niche, or you've got, 2 autistic children, or, you were overweight for 45 years and then you lost the weight. Like, all of these things make you uniquely qualified to spread that message, and the world needs you. Like, there are certain people on this earth who absolutely need you. And that's really what we talk about when we're turning passions into profits. It's not, the passion to, do whatever. It's having that message and that desire to help people. That's really what it means.
Well, that's why I think it's great to have you on the show, because while our audience might not be huge yet, the audience that we do have, they need to hear that. They need to hear that the world needs their information. I mean, I can think of 2 people. I've got 2 names in my head right now that are very much like me. 3 if I include Rex, where they've either been in industry for a while and they're going, gosh, what's next? Or like me, they've been freed. I like that. I'm going to use freed instead of fired. They've been freed and say, okay, you know what? I don't want to go do that anymore, but gee, what do I do? How could people not know? Who wouldn't already know that? Mm-hmm. But they don't. The world needs their information. I think it's a great message.
Great message.
Thank you.
So do you, what I just described, the reason I have 2 names in my head is because I decided about 2 weeks ago, talking to 2 separate people, we're having kind of a similar conversation, and I said, you know what? I'm going to put something on the calendar. We're going to meet every week, and we're just going to kind of keep each other accountable, but also let's come up with ideas. Mm-hmm. Let's keep the motivation going. So, Matt, do you have a circle like that, or have you in the past? Is that something that resonates with you as well? All right, that's it for our part 3 of the interview with Matt McWilliams. And I feel like we need an SOP for ending the show. We're not very good at that.
But that was a great episode, a great conversation. SOPs are something that are useful. I haven't, really explored that much, even though, we use them in the corporate world all the time. But
I'm constantly creating standard work for. I'll just call them clients. Sometimes, they're clients of my new company, Sean Genevieve's Enterprises, a sponsor of the Distracted Driving podcast, if I haven't mentioned that before. But, even when I was working within large Fortune 100 companies, standard work is a big deal. And it's one of those things that helps drive stability into an organization. And instability is like kryptonite to a business, which is why you should go to nomorekryptonite.com and learn how Sean Genevieve's Enterprises can help you do business better.
Yes.
But enough from our sponsor. This episode had some really, it was good advice and some great quotable one-liners. There's an SOP for how to create an SOP. Some people say fired. I say freed. That was good enough to be the title.
That was great. Yeah. So you've been freed. I haven't been freed yet. I'm still shackled, apparently. So,
well, and Rex, I think you need to hear this one. This is one of my favorite quotes, actually, out of all the guests we've had so far on the podcast in over, 25 or so episodes, 20, whatever we're on.
Yeah.
There are certain people on this earth who absolutely need you. They need your message, but they're not going to wait for it.
And they're not listening right now.
The time is now. The time is, well, they may
Thank
very
you
well.
for listening.
They may very
You need
well
our
be
message.
listening. That's right.
But we got lots of other messages.
All right, and one more
that's a
part
good one.
of our conversation with Matt McWilliams. I'm Sean Genovese.
Rex Williams.
We'll see
Don't
you
get
next time.
distracted. Oh, see? What is the SOP? What? Who says what? I don't know. We just say stuff and then it can release it. So if you want to get the book, don't just go to Amazon. Go to passionsintoprofitsbook.com/Rex, and you can get over $500 in bonuses. And it's an affiliate link, so I may or may not get something from that. But I may, because it's my link. So it's awesome.